Well, of course, the pandemic hit people in different ways. And for some, it came down to their mortgage. Of course, the CARES Act was passed over a year ago, but time is up for many people, and many people out there may be seeking help. And we've got a place you can go. Let's welcome back our friend, Alan Borden, of course, from the Debt Relief Legal Group. Good morning, Alan. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well. How about yourself?
I am well, and I think this is really important to start talking about. You said before we got started, you're starting to see calls into your office about the CARES Act because things now are expiring. Let's first talk about the CARES Act in itself. If people, of course, took advantage of this act, they know about it. They hopefully know about the deadlines, but explain to our viewers out there that maybe don't know what we're talking about, what we're referring to today.
Yeah, sure. So the CARES Act allowed people who had mortgages that were federally backed, like FHA, HUD, things like that, which is quite a majority of the mortgages right now. They allowed them to ask for 6 months of forbearance because of a COVID-related issue. And all you had to do is say, hey, look, I lost my job or I became unemployed or whatever because of COVID. They give you up to 6 months. At the end of those 6 months, you could ask for another 6-month forbearance, which means a total of a whole year where you didn't have to pay your mortgage. Now, the problem with the CARES Act is it didn't provide an end solution. So what happens at the end of that time period, whether it's 6 months or 3 months or a year, with the payments that you didn't make? It says, here are some options. One of those, which we'd hope all the big banks would do, is to put all those payments at the end and just start you fresh. But we're not seeing a lot of banks jumping on that right now. They're still trying to figure out what to do. Some of them are asking for all those forbearance payments immediately at the end of forbearance, and that's where we're running into issues.
I would say so. My heart just hurts for the people who are in that situation, especially if they were financially impacted to move forward with the CARES Act and then be told that they need those missing payments. I'm assuming people are like, we don't have that. Where can they begin? Where can they go for help?
Yeah, so what I can tell you broadly right now, the Consumer Financial Bureau of the United States reported that there are $90 billion in payments that are behind right now from homeowners all across the United States. That's the highest since 2010, which we know is the last time we had a big recession where people weren't paying their mortgages. So we're at a place where people need some help. Now, they're discussing the possibility of extending the current moratorium, which ends in June 30th, all the way to January of next year. But honestly, that's a kicking the can down the road. So what I wanted to kind of talk to people about is to jump on the ball right now and start talking to your mortgage company about what your options are, about what they're going to offer at the end of that forbearance period, and what you can do. Because at worst case scenario, they're still going to be able to offer you a modification, or a loss mitigation option, which means you will have to submit some paperwork. They'll evaluate to see what they can do with those missed payments, maybe put it out the end, reduce your interest rate, and maybe extend the term of your loan from 30 years up to 40 years and put you back on a monthly payment. The problem with those loss mitigation process is it's very convoluted, it's very paper heavy, and so it's important if you're going to do it, it'd be best if you talk to an attorney to help you out with that process, because doing it on your own, a lot of times, if you miss one thing, they deny you just because they don't have all the documents.
And I think you probably see people who want to go at this themselves. And if they do get certain documents, they're like, well, this is cut and, this is black and white. This isn't stone. I've got to go ahead and pay it. What are we going to do? I think it's interesting, two things. One, you say, go ahead, reach out to the mortgage company themselves, and maybe to have some extra help or even some extra confidence. That's where an attorney like yourself can come in to help with those conversations and maybe force them to look at some other options. Force them, I mean, the mortgage companies themselves.
Right. There are some good laws that help and force the mortgage companies and mortgage servicers to have deadlines, answer appropriately, and offer things if you meet certain qualifications. So when you're doing it by yourself and you don't know those laws, or you don't know where you can turn the screws to make sure that the mortgage company does what they're supposed to do, that's where an attorney helps a lot. And you want somebody on your side to do that, because, I mean, for a lot of people, this is your biggest asset. This is where you live. You want somebody, a professional, to help you out to get you back on track.
And I've even heard from the real estate side of things that the foreclosures could happen as soon as July, as well as conversations with you. So get answers now, get information, get help now. Talk with Alan and his team. There's some information on how you can get in touch with them, plus that free consultation and even $100 off attorney fees. Alan, thank you for coming in and talking about this. We don't want anyone to be in this kind of situation, so I appreciate helping spread the word today.